Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a massive shift happening in the workplace. How AI is helping companies finally move past that dreaded annual survey and turn employee feedback from a once-a-year event into a real, ongoing conversation.
All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll kick things off by digging into why the old school feedback methods are just, well, broken. Then we'll look at how this new idea of continuous listening, powered by AI, is completely changing the game. And finally, we'll see what the incredible benefits are when you actually get this right.
For the longest time, the main tool we had for employee feedback was that big annual survey. But here's the thing. Doing it that way feels like you're trying to find your way through a city that's changing every day, but you're using a map from last year. The information is stale almost the second you get it.
Now get a load of this number, 30 to 40%. That's the average response rate for those old surveys. Just think about that for a second. It means that most companies are making huge decisions based on a picture where more than half the people are missing. It's fundamentally incomplete.
And this really forces a critical question, doesn't it? Are your decisions being shaped by maybe your most enthusiastic employees or your most upset ones? What about that huge majority in the middle that's just staying silent? You run a huge risk of acting on data that's totally skewed.
So yeah, there are a ton of flaws here, from getting insights way too late to asking these generic one-size-fits-all questions. But honestly, the biggest failure of them all is the action gap. This is where employees pour their hearts out, give all this input, and then it just disappears into a corporate black hole. It leaves everyone wondering, why did I even bother? And this is the direct result of that action gap. When nearly half your people feel like they're talking to a wall, that their ideas are heard but just ignored, they eventually stop trying. Trust completely erodes, and that well of good feedback just runs dry.
Okay, so if the old way is so broken, what's the alternative? Well, in response to all these failures, smart organizations are moving to a totally new strategy. They're treating feedback not as some yearly chore, but as a continuous, always-on dialogue.
So what is continuous listening? Think of it this way. The old annual survey was like taking a single snapshot of your company, just one moment in time. This new approach is like watching a movie. It's dynamic, it's evolving, and it tells the entire story of the employee experience.
And when you put the two approaches side by side, the difference is just night and day. We're moving away from something that's slow, one way, and really just checks a box for HR. And we're moving towards a real-time, two-way dialogue that actually builds a culture of trust and lets you respond quickly.
And let me tell you, this isn't some niche, fringe idea. The shift has been absolutely dramatic. A decade ago, you had less than 20% of companies listening this frequently. Today, that number has exploded to 75%. This is how the modern workplace is learning to listen.
I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. People don't get tired of being asked for their opinion. They get tired of being asked and then seeing nothing happen. They will happily tell you what they think as long as they believe it leads to real, meaningful change.
Okay, but let's be realistic. How on earth can a big company manage a constant flood of information from thousands of people? It sounds totally overwhelming. Well, the answer is artificial intelligence. It's the engine that's making it possible to actually hear every single voice at scale.
AI brings this incredible toolkit to the table. You've got natural language processing, which can literally read and understand thousands of written comments in seconds, pulling out the key themes and sentiment. You have chatbots that can act like friendly virtual listening posts. And you have data integration that connects all that feedback to actual business outcomes. It's a game changer.
So, gathering all this data is one thing, but the real magic of AI is that it helps organizations finally close that dreaded action gap. It's all about building a bridge between just listening to feedback and actually doing something with it.
And here's how that works in practice. It's this beautiful, virtuous cycle. AI doesn't just collect data, it sifts through it to find the most critical issues that need attention. Then, it serves up those insights directly to managers who can take action. And finally, the AI actually helps monitor the impact of those changes, which creates this amazing, continuous loop of improvement.
And this part is so important. It's a fundamental shift in power. Instead of feedback getting lost in some centralized HR report, AI puts the insights directly into the hands of frontline managers. The people who are actually in the best position to make a difference. It empowers them to solve their team's problems fast.
So when you combine this continuous listening with AI-powered action, the results aren't just about making people feel good,
They are significant, measurable business outcomes. There's a real tangible return on investment here.
The first big payoff? A direct boost to engagement. Deloitte found that companies doing this see a 14% jump. And it makes perfect sense, right? When people feel genuinely heard and valued, they become way more invested in their work and in the company's success.
This also hits the bottom line hard. Acting on feedback can slash employee turnover by almost 15%. In a world where it's so hard to find and keep good people, that's a huge deal. It means keeping your best talent from walking out the door.
And you can see how all these benefits start to build on each other. Higher engagement and retention lead to smarter decisions. That fosters a culture of trust, and it frees up HR to stop crunching data manually and start focusing on bigger, more strategic things. It really creates this powerful upward spiral.
Which leaves us with one final, kind of provocative thought. In this new world of work, where everything is about speed and agility, just asking for feedback once a year isn't going to cut it anymore. The real question is whether your organization is truly listening and, more importantly, prepared to act. Because at the end of the day, that's the difference between just checking a box and building a place where people truly want to be.